The coevolutionary relationship between cows and grass is one of nature's underappreciated wonders. It also happens to be the key to understanding just about everything about modern meat. For the grasses, which have evolved to withstand the grazing of ruminants. According to recent research, sunshine and warm weather have a positive effect on our moods. The British Journal of Psychology has published a report in which it claims that anxiety levels fall when temperatures rise, while increased exposure to sunshine makes us think more positively about our lives. The government is still not sure whether its alternative idea for the Auckland's America's Cup Village is viable, a week out from the start of the planning approval process. Auckland Council is seeking approval to build 8 bases across 3 wharves. Mexico City, a miner in the state of Chiapas found a tiny tree frog that has been preserved in amber for 25 million years, a researcher said. If authenticated, the preserved frog would be the first of its kind found in Mexico, according to David Grimaldi, a biologist and curator at the American Museum of Natural History, who was not involved in the find. If the dream is to turn this palm-fringed corner of Hainan into a tourist trap comparable to Florida's balmy Space Coast, there is still a lot to do. Several idle building sites suggest that some investors have gambled rashly. The fine details of how glaciers are linked to volcanic eruptions are unknown. But volcanologists theorize that pressure is key. The idea is that the weight of large ice sheets compresses the crust and mantle below. That closes up channels within the rock through which magma travels towards the surface. Parents can demonstrate while the child is still very young that TV is a medium to be used selectively. They can quite literally point children in the direction of informative educational programs. There are some remarkable things for a preschooler to see and enjoy on television. Higher numbers of patients were infected than during previous outbreaks of the illness. Higher numbers of patients were infected than during previous outbreaks of the illness. The organization has provided food to families facing hardship. The organization has provided food to families facing hardship. He shared his tips on quickly adapting to college life. He shared his tips on quickly adapting to college life. The system can run several programs at the same time. The system can run several programs at the same time. The Arts magazine is looking for a new assistant editor. The Arts magazine is looking for a new assistant editor. Higher fees make students think more critically about what universities can offer. Higher fees make students think more critically about what universities can offer. The recent study has thrown out the validity of the argument. The recent study has thrown out the validity of the argument. The author expressed the idea that modern readers invariably cannot accept. The author expressed the idea that modern readers invariably cannot accept. More females than males graduated from universities last year. More females than males graduated from universities last year. The teacher shared his understanding of social relationships with his students. The teacher shared his understanding of social relationships with his students. I would like tomatoes and cheese sandwiches on white bread and orange juice. I would like tomatoes and cheese sandwiches on white bread and orange juice. I believe children should read aloud more. I believe children should read aloud more. Animals have been used in research aimed at improving human welfare for centuries, typically at the cost of their lives. This practice reflects the widespread belief that human lives are more valuable than non-human lives. People have different views about the ethics of animal testing and how it's conducted. But whatever your opinion, this scenario raises an important philosophical question: how do we determine the value of a life, whether human or non-human? One tool philosophers have used to consider this question is moral status. Beings with moral status should have their needs and interests taken into consideration by those making decisions that impact them. Traditionally, moral status has been seen as binary: either a being's interests matter for their own sake, or they don't. And historically, many philosophers believed that humans had moral status and other animals didn't. Some contemporary philosophers like Shelley Kagan have argued that moral status comes in degrees, but even in this model, he argues that people have the most moral status. However, determining what grants any degree of moral status can be difficult. What is the science that studies living organisms? What is the subject that teaches calculation and numbers? How many legs does an octopus have? How many sides does a hexagon have?